What if I told you that no matter what challenge you're currently dealing with, no matter what issues you might have, no matter what problems you're facing, there's one skill that you can learn that can help you find all the answers you're looking for? You probably wouldn't believe me, but that's why I'm doing this video, and that's why this channel exists. That skill is emotional mastery. And today I'm going to share with you the 3 main building blocks to help you start developing yours so that you can start transforming your life in any way you want. And I'm not even exaggerating. By the way, my name is Chris. I'm an emotional mastery coach, and I teach people how to understand themselves and their emotions and connect their head and their heart so that they can find all the change they're looking for and the happiness that they deserve. I've worked with dozens and dozens of people, and by teaching them really simple things, really common sense, logical, practical things, have helped them find raises at work, promotions, new jobs, dream jobs, falling in love, getting rid of their inner critic, decreasing their anxiety, decreasing their depression, finding more happiness and peace and enjoyment in life, getting to make all the inner changes they're looking for, and finding really cool dream external goals reached as well. And it's very simple and very straightforward. So let's get into it. By the way, I have to say, or I don't know if I have to say this, but I'm going to. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm not any of that. And in truth, I don't want to be. I'm just a guy who figured out how to understand his emotions and what they were really meaning and what they were really telling me, and started applying it to my life, and it changed my life. And then started helping friends do that, and then started helping other people do that. And now I give people an emotional education that we all should have got that's honestly very common sense and very logical. And that's how I like to teach. Logic, common sense, practicality, a little bit spiritual if you are open to that, but that's not necessary. But my point is, and my philosophy is, understanding our emotions are the key to everything. They affect everything. They affect every part of our life. There's no part of your day that's not affected by your emotions. There's no part of your day that's not affected by your mind and your heart. And those are the two main things I really want you to focus on if you're actually looking for change. We all have problems and we all have challenges, but I think the difference between the people who can find their answers and their solutions and the people who feel like they're constantly stuck and overwhelmed and overstressed and anxious and lost and confused and hopeless and about life, I think the main difference is people who are able to understand the inner things that are going on behind all of those issues. Meaning the people who can look at what is their mind thinking, how is their heart feeling, and how can you access that and understand those things to approach whatever the problem is. The analogy that comes to mind for dealing with problems or to figuring life out and to really finding all the answers and solutions we want. Hold on, by the way, can we get comfortable? I feel like I want to just like sit back, relax, and also encourage you to do that. I really think that the analogy that comes to mind is like we all feel like we can feel like we're like rats in a maze, and as we're going about our like trying to figure out our problems, it's just like we just see these walls, and we see a turn and there's something that looks like maybe that's the way to go, and then we turn and then and then there's a dead end, and then we have to turn around and start going in the other way, and we're just stuck in this cramped, claustrophobic space of feeling lost and confused about everything. And what emotional understanding and emotional awareness and emotional mastery does is it allows us as the rat to look up. Sorry, it's really windy here and my cameras might fall over. It allows us to look up and jump up on top of the wall, and therefore see the landscape in a completely new way. And by doing that, often realizing that we're already out of the maze. By even just doing that, by even just understanding our thoughts and our emotions, we're out of the maze. So that's what I want to jump into today. So I was saying that there's three main building blocks to doing this. The first one is understanding our headspaces, the mind. And to keep it simple, I just want you to keep in mind your headspaces, good and bad, when you're in a good headspace and when you're in a bad headspace. The way you're going to be able to tell is when you feel good, meaning you're feeling playful and fun and loving and appreciative and peaceful and calm. Whenever you have moments like that, you're in a good headspace. And whenever you're feeling down, sad, scared, insecure, frustrated, overwhelmed, stressed, that just means that you're in a bad headspace. You're in a negative headspace. And if you keep those distinctions made, I'm just going to keep this very simple because it can be simple. The awareness of the headspace you're in is such a huge superpower that you do have access to, but most of us don't even think about. This is the problem. We were never taught to do this. So just keep in mind what headspace you're in, good or bad, and no judgment on it. Like, don't judge yourself and don't let other people judge you for being in a good headspace or a bad headspace. Like, you're allowed to be happy, and it's okay to feel good, and it's also okay to feel bad, and it's okay to not feel good, to feel bad. It's okay. Like, that's human. But I want you to know and keep in mind that when you feel good, there are certain benefits that come with that. And when you feel bad, there are certain disadvantages that come with that. So you're not judging yourself for feeling good or feeling bad. You're just being aware of it and knowing the logical upsides of feeling good and the logical downsides of feeling bad. Okay, so for example, and by the way, I did a much longer video on this if you want to check it out. I mean, watch this first, but then check out my other video. I'll put it above or it's the one that says feel good 80% of the time or something like that. But the point that I'm trying to make with this is when you feel good, your upside advantages are, and these are all logical. Like this, again, this is all simple, logical, plain stuff, but it's true. And and the problem really isn't that it's not true. The problem is that we don't think about it and we don't keep it in mind. So when we feel good, we're in good headspaces, and good headspaces come with logical benefits like you think better, you get better ideas, you are more creative, you see solutions more easily, things make more sense to you, you have more clarity, you have more bandwidth to deal with whatever it is that you're dealing with in your life. You carry good energy, and so you affect other people in a more positive way. Your body language is more appealing to people. Your voice, it affects your voice. You have a different tone when you're in a good headspace. You speak differently. You use different words. You use different tones. You make different connections. Your mind operates differently. All of those things are just logical upsides of being in good headspaces. And so when you're in good headspaces, those are the moments when you want to like make important decisions about your life. Those are the moments when you want to like think about your goals and your dreams and just like ponder that and like write about them or talk about them or daydream about them. Those are the moments when you want to make choices. Those are the moments when you want to have conversations with people. Even if there's like an issue with someone, it doesn't matter what it is. This is the beauty of it. It doesn't matter if you're asking for a raise. It doesn't matter if you're talking to your partner about something difficult. It doesn't matter if you're trying to sort something out with a friend. It doesn't matter if you're jumping into a creative project. Being in a good headspace is going to be helpful to you for all the reasons I just went through. So aim to do those things when you're in a good headspace as much as you can. And on the flip side, when you're in a negative headspace, know that there's logical downsides to it. Again, no judgment. Like we're sometimes, everyone, I'm in bad headspaces sometimes too. But I remember when I'm in them, I'm in a negative headspace, and negative headspaces come with logical downsides. Like you get bad ideas, you have poor judgment, you feel lost and confused and don't know what to do. Nothing seems clear. Nothing seems easy. You don't see answers and solutions very clearly. Nothing quite makes sense. No matter what you do, no matter what you try, everything seems hard and difficult and overwhelming. It's hard to put two and two together. It's hard to see answers. You have no bandwidth to deal with stuff. So the smallest stuff happens and you just kind of snap or feel like you just want to throw your hands up and give up. You have negative energy that you carry in your body language and in your voice and in your tone and in your verbal language, which affects people in negative ways. It pushes people away. It shuts people down. It makes people like get defensive or clamp up. It aggravates them. It stirs them up. It makes them angry. When we're in negative headspaces, we say things that we don't mean. We do things that we end up regretting later. We make up false assumptions about things that we could never really know, like what's actually going on in someone's mind, or the intentions that someone has, or why certain things happened. We won't know that, and we can't know some of these things, and yet we'll make up a reason in our mind. Our mind will make up a reason, and we'll fill in the gaps because that's what the mind loves to do, even though they're fake and false. But we'll still operate as though they're real. We'll operate as though we know that person would never, approve us for something, or would never hire us for something, or would never want to date us, or whatever the thing is. Like, we all have different negative thoughts about lots of things. But just keep that in mind, that your negative headspaces come with all of these downsides. And so, logically, don't use your negative headspaces to do certain things that are important to you. Like, for example, when you're in a negative headspace, that's not the time to jump on things. That's not the time to take action. That's not the time to make important choices about your life. That's not the time to decide things. That's not the time to, I found that it's not even the time to communicate with people, because the words I'm not clear when I'm in those headspaces. And so I actually like to, even if I have an issue with somebody, I like to get myself into good headspaces before I have that conversation, so that I have clarity in myself and in my mind, in my heart, before I speak to them and while I'm speaking to them. And by just doing those little things of like, don't use your negative headspaces to don't use those moments to do things that don't use those moments to make important choices or to have important conversations or to, don't ask for a raise in a negative headspace. Don't ask someone on a date on a negative headspace, because there's all these underlying things in the way that you're thinking, talking, interpreting, operating that are to your disadvantage to do that. And so keep your headspaces in mind. So that's all I'm asking, and that's the point of this first block. And there's more to it. I'm just giving you the general gist of this of emotional mastery as a bigger skill. That's the first main piece, is pay attention to your headspaces, good or bad, and use that information to logically benefit you. It'll make such a huge difference. And when I start to teach people this, again, logical, common sense, we all kind of know this, but how many of us actually do it? How many of us actively think about it, though? We all know it. It makes sense. I'm sure when I just laid that out, you probably were like, yeah, sure. Yeah, that makes total sense. But are you paying attention to that? Are you doing it? Because most of us have all these moments where in our day where we're feeling a little insecure or a little upset or a little frustrated, and yet we still are doing things. We're still making choices, and we're not realizing that we actually are. And once you start to shift that and start making that small adjustment of like, I'm not going to take action on things as much as possible. I'm not going to take action on things when I'm stressed or when I'm scared or when I'm insecure, when I'm feeling insecure. And that small adjustment makes such big changes. I've seen so many people, myself included, have such major shifts in life because they made that one adjustment. Usually, that's what I usually teach in the first time I talk to somebody or work with somebody. Like, that's the first thing I go over. And when people start practicing that first week, so many cool things happen. So many cool changes happen because we don't realize the invisible extra problems we're running into when we're not doing that, when we're not paying attention to our headspaces. So pay attention to your headspaces, good and bad, and then do things that are logical. By the way, I have a free vibe guide on my website. You can check it out. Or if you sign up for my Emotional Mastery newsletter, it's totally free. But if you do, it will lay all of this out. In the first email you get is going to lay all of this out and give you the tips of what you can do when you're feeling good, when you're in a good headspace, and when you're in a bad headspace that can logically, practically, commonsensically help you start really seeing major changes in your life. Sometimes our problems, a lot of our problems that we find ourselves in are coming because we're making decisions in negative headspaces and not realizing it. A lot of our problems, whether it's with interpersonal problems with other people, with friends, with coworkers, with partners, or whether it's problems with creative projects that we're having, or problems with, internal problems. A lot of our problems are coming because we're making choices from negative headspaces and we're not realizing it. We're feeling frustrated and we're taking that line of thinking from that frustration, and we're still doing a thing when we don't realize that, oh, we're in a cloudy headspace right now. Why would I be having that conversation now? Why would I want to take that action now when I'm not at my best mentally and emotionally? And once we start to do that one thing, it can really clear things up. So that's the first piece. The second building block to understanding and to developing emotional mastery is starting to understand your own heart. So the headspaces is the mind, the heart is the heart. And understanding that that's the true us. That's who we really are. We are our heart. Everyone that's watching right now, I'm assuming is a heart-centered person, someone who is genuinely on the inside loving, kind, compassionate, fun-loving, playful, like we are as kids. Like, it's just natural for us to be in alignment with our heart. But as we get older, it becomes trickier to do that. And we sometimes we find ourselves kind of guided away from that. And that being led away from that is what causes so many issues. When we're not in alignment with our own heart, and when we don't understand our heart, and when we don't listen to our heart and pay attention to our heart and try to adjust ourselves internally to be more in alignment with our heart, that's what causes a lot of issues. And so that's why the second big piece of emotional mastery is understanding who you are at a heart level, knowing you're good. By default, you're good. And I'll do more videos on this because I think this is a way bigger topic that I don't want to, I mean, if I got into it now, it would be dark before I was finished. But pay attention to your heart and know who you are at a heart level, meaning you are by nature loving. You are by nature kind. You are by nature compassionate. You are by nature caring. You are by nature lighthearted, fun, playful. You want to enjoy life. Your heart just wants to love and enjoy life. And whenever we are not doing that, we're then operating in modes where we're not, that are going to lead to further confusion, further stress, overwhelm, anxiety, sadness, feeling like nothing makes sense, and in large part because the heart can guide us. And when we learn to be guided by our heart and live by our heart and align with our heart, really magical things start to happen, and your brain works and your mind works way better when we're in alignment with our heart. And so that's the second piece, is understanding who you are at a heart level and starting to identify with that, starting to be guided by that, starting to live in a heart-based way. And so, so I'm planting a seed here. It's something I want you to start thinking about. And if you never think about that, that's something to consider. And this is the point that I'm trying to make with like the challenges you have, the problems you're facing. So often the answer is not that we're looking for, so many people, and I include myself in this when I say this, when I had years of anxiety. I had almost a decade of anxiety and panic attacks. I was on medication. I was in therapy. I was trying to do all the things. And when I was trying to figure out my problems, it was like I didn't know. I had no idea what to do with them. And I looked on the outside. I was looking for, okay, I'm having these problems at work. It's stressful. It's overwhelming. I feel like I question myself. I question what other people think of me. And I'm looking for, what can I do to change that? What if I worked more? What if I stayed later? What if I just, like, I would come up with these reasons that would help me with like these external reasons. You know what I mean? Like, what actions could I take to solve this kind of thing? But what I realized, and I will do another video on my anxiety, but because that's its own other topic. But what I realized was the answer was not those things. The answer was, in part, realizing who I was on a heart level and starting to identify with that and starting to think about that and starting to live by that and be guided by that. So what I'm suggesting to you is there may be challenges that you're facing and problems you have that the reason you are having a hard time solving them is because you're looking at the external stuff, which also, by the way, is going to be an important element. I'm not saying ignore the external stuff, but I'm saying let your heart guide you to the best external stuff, and separately do an inner shift. So if you're not at all and never have and don't often think about your heart and who you are and like sinking into that and relaxing into your heart center and trying to ask yourself what your heart would want to do and think about who you are at a heart level, if you haven't done that or don't do that or never have done that, what if, I'm going to plant the seed, what if that's the answer you're looking for? What if that's something you were overlooking because you didn't know? Because again, we're not taught this. This is not part of normal education. But I found that to be the answer for me and for a lot of the people that I work with. Once they learn to do that, and once we start to live that way with those things in mind, it completely opens everything up. We start to understand with ourselves more. We start to connect with ourselves more. We have more of a, oh, I know who I am. Like, I really know who I am. And once you start that process, you start talking differently, thinking differently, new ideas come to you, new clarity comes to you, new answers start popping up, new solutions start occurring to you. Real magic starts happening in the world around you. You start impressing people in different ways. I started realizing that I didn't have to do more. I actually could do less and still be have a really beautiful, loving response from other people by just being me and by living as the real me. The real me got to show up, and not only did I feel it internally shift, but people on the outside, like people I worked with or friends of mine, got to connect with me on a deeper way that was really powerful and really cool and transformative. That was also a key factor in helping me get rid of my anxiety and my panic attacks, because it gave me so much clarity, and I just understood life in a different way once I started connecting with my own heart and aligning with that more. So that's the second piece. And again, if you're having problems figuring out your answers and you feel like they're unreachable and you'll never figure it out and you've been confused this whole time and you never will, if that's how you've been thinking, I'm encouraging you, have you considered aligning with your heart, exploring your heart, identifying with your heart, and getting to know who you really are on the inside in that way? Because that's a pivotal piece to not only discovering who you are in yourself and getting to connect with yourself, but it's a pivotal piece in helping you access good headspaces and super powerful, amazing headspaces to a degree and at a frequency, meaning you're accessing good headspaces on such a regular basis by doing that, that you keep getting clarity, you keep getting good ideas, you keep getting that you interpret the world around you more favorably, you impress people more. It's like it has all of these ripple benefits that come from doing it. So if you've been stuck or feel lost or stuck or confused and don't know how to fix your problems, don't know how to solve your issues, and feel like you're helpless in that journey or in that fight that you find yourself in, that piece of the heart piece, if that's something you never think about or never have thought about, consider that might be the answer. And by thinking about that and starting to consider that it might open up all these doors to you that you weren't even seeing before because you didn't know. Okay, so that's the second piece. The third piece to developing an emotional mastery is the connection between the head and the heart. So we talked about the mind, head spaces. We talked about the heart, heart space. And now it's the connection. The third piece is the connection between the two, which I kind of talked about I kind of touched on just a minute ago, but I want to get more specific now. And I don't know what order I'm releasing these videos, but I either, there is already a video out right now that you can access where I go into this in detail, or it's coming, so look out for it. But it's the concept of changing our thinking. Our heart is always our heart. Our heart is always our heart. It's always love. It's always joy. It's always compassionate. It's always kind. It's always at peace. It's always good. But our mind is sometimes it's like that, and sometimes it's not. The mind is all over the place, as you know. Sometimes the mind is, yeah, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling calm. I'm feeling relaxed. Sometimes the mind is very much like, I feel stressed. I feel anxious. I feel scared. I feel insecure. I feel angry. I'm bitter. I'm guilty. I feel shameful, whatever. Like sometimes the mind is all over the place. But the cool thing is that there's a skill that we also can develop. And I guess you would call that skill focus. But it's essentially, we have sway over our thoughts. So our thoughts could be here and could be here and could be wherever. But the cool thing is we have sway over our thoughts, and we can develop the skill of developing a real sway, an agency over how we think. And the goal with that is to align our thinking to our heart as much as we can. And there are practical, logical ways to do that. Again, I have another video out where I talk about how to change your thinking, how to change your negative and limiting beliefs. That's the video I'm referring to. So, and I'm going to do countless videos about this stuff. So, but I just want you to know you have agency and sway over your thinking. You can't control every thought that pops into your head, but you can sway the direction of your thoughts. You can choose when you want to distract yourself. You can choose to let go of certain thoughts if you want to. You can choose to change your mind on things. You can choose to adopt new perspectives. That's all within your realm of power. Your abilities include those things, and that's all it takes. And it takes practice. And meditation also helps you develop this skill and the skill of focus. But it's all possible, and that is a key element. Purposely, intentionally, consciously shifting your thinking to align with your heart is the third key that I like to teach people when it comes to developing emotional mastery. And once you start to do that and you start practicing it and seeing, when you start changing your negative and limiting thoughts to more positive and supportive ones, and open and optimistic ones, and flexible and loving ones, and powerful, empowered and confident ones, your life has to change. It's inevitable. The change is inevitable, and it's good change, because when you act in love, when you act in confidence, when you act in joy, when you act in peace and compassion, you're way more likely to get good results that way in any area. Again, we're talking about relationships. We're talking about career. We're talking about creative projects. We're talking about your own inner critic, getting rid of that. We're talking about finding your own inner peace. We're talking about making progress and movement towards your specific goals and your specific dreams. No matter what we're talking about, you shifting your thinking on purpose to things that feel better to you and things that resonate with your heart is going to help. It can't not over time in doing that. And so those are the three pieces. Though if you start there, this gives you a place to start. I'm very curious what you think. So please let me know in the comments below. What do you think about all this? Are you excited to start your journey of developing your emotional mastery? Are you if you do these things, even if you took one of the pieces I gave you today and started focusing on them, this week or today. Come back and tell me how that went. Like, share with me. I want this channel to be very interactive and very conversational. So let me know how this practice goes. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Put them in the comments below too. Let me know. I want to hear what's going on in your mind. What are the questions that come up when I explain this, when I share this? Again, the things I talked about today, I'm giving very those are the general pieces. We could talk about each one of those pieces for like 6 hours, but I wanted to give you a broad view of what this skill is, and so that you have a starting place to start developing your own emotional mastery. It's not hard. The beauty about this is it's not hard. It's very easy and common sense. It does take practice. So I'm not saying it doesn't require that, but it's not hard practice, because often the practice is, for headspaces, the practice is pay attention to your headspaces. That just requires you to think about it a few times a day. I would think about it more than a few times a day, but like thinking about it throughout the day. For the heart piece, the practice involves asking yourself what your heart feels. Starting to think about you as your heart. What does your heart want? Exploring that. That's the practice of that. And the practice of shifting your mind and connecting your heart and your head, that practice is a little bit more involved, but there's another video that covers it. So check that out or be on the lookout for it. And yeah, other than that, this is not hard. The practice is, in some ways, to keep it even easier, a lot of this is the practice is to play more. The practice is to relax more. The practice is to enjoy your life more. Because by doing those things, you're following your heart and you're accessing good headspaces, which are the key to finding the ideas, the inspiration, the insight that can help you in any area you want. Find any answer you want. Find any clarity you want. So I hope this is helpful. If this has been helpful, give me a thumbs up. And let me know in the comments, because if you want me to explore any one of these areas, or if you have questions you have for me, put them in the comments so that I can read them. I will respond to them, and I will make videos, future videos that relate to them. And also, this is a everything I talked about today is a self-practice. Like, you can do this as a self-practice, and you should. Like, I encourage you to do that. But for anyone here who's like, if you're watching this and you're like, but I would love some help with this, or I would love some guidance with this, or I would love some personal guidance with it. I want someone to hold my hand on this journey. I have coaching available and classes available. I have group classes and solo coaching. Check my website, links below. You can find that if you're interested. If that's helpful to you, then do that. But you can do this as a self-practice, and my purpose for making these videos on YouTube is to, and other platforms too, I guess, is to share this with the world as much as possible, to share it with you, and to give you this emotional education that I never got and that I think most people never get. And so we don't think about it, but yet it affects everything, and it affects all of our lives. And once we start understanding it, once we understand our emotions, know how to train our mind, and connect our heart with our head, true magic happens in this world, and true magic happens in your life. I've seen it happen with me. I've seen it happen with so many of the people that I've worked with. It's the norm. It's the norm that awesome transformations happen when you practice this. That's why I think this is so it's so logically helpful, but also when the changes happen, it's amazing to see how frequently effective it is. So anyway, I will wrap with that. Thank you guys for watching today. I appreciate you. I love you. And I will see you soon in another video. Oh, I guess also, if you're interested in watching the video of how to change your thoughts, if it's out, which hopefully it will be, I will put it here. So click here to watch that video next.